Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Hello APGD, a neighborhood podcast about the Audubon Park Garden District in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Michael Lothrop, and today we'll be speaking with Hokkaido Hank, licensed massage therapist and wellness sheriff. You'll find Hank at Kaya Wednesday evening starting at 6 p.m., weather permitting, and every Friday night at Redlight Redlight, also starting at 6 p.m. For event bookings or at-home appointments, email hokkaido@gmail.com and be sure to follow Hank on Instagram at Hokkaido Hank. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to be a sponsor, please feel free to message me on Instagram at HelloAPGDPod. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you in part by Trevor Brown of Fannie Hillman & Associates. For listings, market trends, helpful home buyer and seller tips, email directly to Trevor at fanniehillman.com or find him on Instagram at TrevorBrown407. And with me today is Hokkaido Hank, licensed massage therapist and wellness sheriff. Hank, welcome.
Howdy, how you doing?
I'm doing so good. So a wellness sheriff it's a new term to me and probably to some other people. Do you have other wellness sheriffs in your family? Are you the first?
I believe I am the first in my community here, and I am definitely the first one in my family.
Awesome. How do you become a wellness sheriff?
Well, you have to know the terrain, and you got to patrol the borders of Orlando and Audubon Park, and you see the imbalances of who needs to be taken care of. Sometimes I'm on a horse. Usually I'm with my cat, and we just roam around in my Toyota Corolla, which is checking out the neighborhood.
Very similar to a horse.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
My cat's name is Cowboy.
Cowboy. All right. I'm sensing a theme here. How the cowboy spirit is obviously within you. If you are kind of a local celebrity in Audubon Park. If anybody has been to Red Light and they've seen the wellness sheriff, they know when they've seen you, right? How did this theme kind of surface?
So yeah, on my Instagram, I document how this business is kind of coming together. Yes, It started with the purchase of a hat, and being in the culinary industry for the last 10 years, I know that when you present a dish, people eat with their eyes first. So
I've heard the term, people say phone eats first. Have you heard this before?
oh my gosh, yes. My brother's a huge food grammer in Cali, and great, the food's cold. Now we can eat it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, people before they taste a thing, it's about that initial presentation, right? It's that visually what you see, it kind of sets a tone, right? An expectation.
For sure. Yeah. Now more than ever, we have a very, visual culture, and with the gram and social media. So I didn't want to be just another cow in the pasture. So be a purple cow.
I like it.
I heard that book. I like that idea. Shout outs to Seth Godin.
I understand you have a local graphic artist that developed kind of the themes. Tell me about that.
Right. So when I first started out, I wanted to do everything myself. I'm like, I'll just teach myself Photoshop. No problem.
Sure.
YouTube one thing at a time. And I was just, there's so many buttons on there. I didn't know what I was doing. So I did pull off one poster, like a crop, and I dragged some text. And that's my orange poster. And it says, "Give yourself a chance, cowboy." And it's just not enough. I think having a sheriff in a costume by a chair is still kind of freaking some people out. You don't know what I'm selling. So, yeah, I think I popped up at an event at Red Light. It was a Sunday event. And Sandhill Supply, they approached me and they got a massage. And they got it immediately. They're like, "Yo, I love what you're doing with this cowboy thing," and they're like, "Is there any way I can help you out?" And they actually helped me with my latest, poster. And ever since I've gotten that, business has picked up a lot. I think people can actually see what I'm selling, and they're not too like confused with the whole cowboy massage chair. Like they think the massage chair is like some kind of torture device or something. Like they don't even know it's for massages. But
Uh-huh.
now we have some text on the new poster, and it says like "tame those tensions," and it has visuals of hands on back muscle.
Yeah.
I think
People
it's a
know
lot
what
easy.
to expect before they even talk to you or look further into
Yeah.
it, right?
So,
That's
yeah.
important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
It's beautiful branding too. It looks awesome, and it kind of sets the tone. It's part of the billboard effect of you standing there with the chair. You also have this signage, and it looks really great.
Yeah.
And it's obviously very legitimate, so people know, which is important, right?
Yeah, now I feel like I have something to work with if I was on like Shark Tank doing a pitch, instead of just like a chair and me. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is
Yeah.
actually what I'm selling.
Need some visual aids.
Yeah.
That's
I think
always important.
It's too much of a gap to jump across without the visual aids.
Yeah, and sometimes we need help. We need some professionals that do that stuff really well, and Sandhill is killer at it.
Yeah, if you need any graphic design help, yeah, definitely hit him up. Sandhill Supply Co. on Instagram.
I do remember distinctly the first time seeing you set up at Redlight, and the fake mustache, the sunglasses, the bolo tie.
It's a real mustache.
It's a real sorry. My mistake. The real mustache, very authentic. Now that you mention it, it all makes sense. And so that just kind of the visual representation, it sticks with you, right? And I had to learn more. I had to find out who is this person.
What did you think? I mean,
I honestly, the first time I was a little nervous because I was like, all right, what? Like, I don't know if I want this guy touching me because he's dressed like a cowboy.
right.
And that's my own like personal bias coming out. You know what I mean? My feeling about cowboys, perhaps. But you've really won me over. I've gotten several massages from you, and I can say without hesitation that you are adding so much value to Audubon Park and to the experience of being here.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you kindly. So, and I know you're just kind of getting started, right? Tell me about that.
I'm about a year in officially, but I have not been this active since about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I've really started to show up more at Redlight. They've been very, very supportive as a venue and host. And yeah, that was the thing. I haven't been active because I didn't have a consistent venue. And, Brent and Erica they got it. And, that's kind of, it goes into how the visual is. I really want it to be a filter of, people who really, really get it, or people who are kind of on the edge, looks kind of shady. And yeah, the folks at Redlight really embrace that absurdity, and they really see like the true value behind all of it. And I couldn't have asked for a better venue and host.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. I think I remember distinctly you being there on New Year's this year too, and it was such a great party atmosphere, like just so much positivity. And I do have that right. You were there on New Year's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I remember rushing to a party at 11:30 p.m. after that. So yeah, you were right. I was still in my costume when I showed up at my friend's house.
Nice.
What's going on? This is me. This is the real me.
So do you do massages not in Hank attire, or when there's massages happening, it is going to be Hokkaido Hank?
The Hokkaido Hank is, for public appearances. When I go to clients' houses, then they get Hank when he shaves his mustache. To put it that way.
Does that Hank have a nickname as well, or is it just Hank when he shaves his mustache?
It's Hank when he shaves his
mustache.
Yeah.
It's a real
no other name.
Yeah, I mean it's a real Superman Clark Kent dynamic there. I'm like, that can't be the same guy because he doesn't have a mustache and that cowboy outfit.
I have to show up at the same venue without the get up and be like, "Oh, where's Hokkaido Hank? I wanted to
Exactly.
get a mustache."
Yeah, I bet
Just
you
like Clark
could.
Kent does.
Uh-huh. I bet
I
you could
always
get away
miss
with
him.
that.
Darn.
And you've got some catchphrases as well, like "Don't you move a muscle." "I'll take the lead, amigo." Those are your catchphrases.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about just your philosophy with massaging and the wellness piece of it, and why that's important to you, and kind of what you bring to that element.
So starting out as a licensed massage therapist, I was always not content with the massages that I received as a therapist.
Mhm.
So
This is when you were in school
yes,
and you had to basically practice on each other. Is that kind of how that works, or?
yes. So
Okay.
starting in school, you get I think 500 hours at least, and after you get your license, you go out into the field, and I would be working at these spas, franchises, not to name any names. But
Sure.
whenever I went to get a massage myself, even from like people who were veterans much further in their career, they wouldn't really get the spots that I felt like needed the most attention. So I just wanted to go and do my own thing.
hmm Essentially, the importance to you with giving good massages are really getting to those muscles that need attention, that need some release, and you can do that in a shorter period of time if you're targeting those muscles. Is that?
Yes, exactly. So I think being a cowboy, the avatar also brings out the spirit of let's cut the fluff. Let's just get down straight to business. I know where the load bearing muscles are. I'm gonna go get them for you.
Mhm.
You just have to saddle up, and I'll take care of the rest. And for my quick draw, 5-minute massage, it's the fastest massage this side of the Yola. Let's put it that way.
Uh-huh.
And in 5 minutes, I can do a session that can be more impactful than what some therapists do in 30 minutes, 50 minutes. Yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you hone that skill specifically? How did you find, like, is it just in getting massages yourself and knowing what they were missing, and that's kind of how you learn, like, oh, these are what really need to be focused on?
Yes, exactly. I think, yeah, going out to eat when I was a chef, you go out to eat to learn more, and you find the positives and the negatives, and going to get massages just worked the same part of my brain. And I knew what needed to be done, and I honed those techniques to target those muscles specifically. And the feedback I've gotten has just been the guiding light to how I kind of refine and cut out the techniques that weren't working. And this whole thing is a dynamic business. Like, I can keep adjusting as I go, and I am playing kind of like tennis with the public, and just rallying back and forth some ideas, my techniques, seeing feedback, adjusting, and that's where I'm at now.
That's so cool. So what is some of the feedback that you've received from people? Have they really responded and, like, understood, oh, this is really special, this isn't something I've had before?
Yes. So the first step is you have to approach the sheriff. So I think that's daunting enough.
Uh-huh.
I think self-care is such a tall order now, right? It's such an errand and such a chore. And that has never really sat well with me. I'm not like a perfect self-care kind of person. Like, I moisturize or wear sunscreen. I'm not like perfect by any means. And I feel like a lot of the literature and a lot of the culture that surrounds self-care now, I feel like it leverages guilt, and that you're not doing enough. You need to do this. You have to do this. And I'm like, why am I being micromanaged by this ad?
Yeah.
Why is this telling me to do things and like go out of my way to do things? And that's daunting. And I think there's a parallel to that when you come to me as a sheriff. But once you're able to get over that and just ask, I will take care of you.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a fun, I mean, your design, like your signage and your whole persona and the allure behind it, and that even that question of like who is this wellness sheriff. I think that adds to the experience itself, because people are drawn to it because it is such a different thing. It's like this is a serious thing that you do, but it's also fun, right?
Yes, I'm very serious as a healthcare practitioner, but I don't want to be seen as a healthcare practitioner first. For my business model, I'm able to take on that risk as an individual. I don't have to rely on the middleman, or I'm not part of like a bigger conglomerate corporation that, has all this liability. As a creative entrepreneur, I'm able to take on that risk and say, I'm here to have fun. And if you want to have fun, if you want to saddle up, I'm a healthcare practitioner, and let's do this. Let's have fun. I'm going to
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah.
It's not so much, ooh, poor thing, you're broken. I can fix you. And I don't want to say that they are or preach, healthcare to them. I want to see my community and my clients as people who like to have fun, who can embrace this absurd costume and kind of embrace themselves as they're ready to just fall into the hands of this wellness sheriff stranger.
Yeah.
I want to give everything I can to them when they're in my space.
I believe it. And there's very much this like quiet confidence that you have as Hokkaido Hank, right? That like I I I just think that when you're getting a massage, there doesn't have to be a lot of conversation about it. It's like you trust the person, especially after going to them once and you kind of see their work. Like this is really an excellent service, and this isn't something that just anybody is doing. So anytime I see you out, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I get in with Hank, because that's it's going to make me feel better. And it's just, I don't know, it makes my week better just having that adjustment and having that, because I've had some lower back pain from an old car accident injury. So it's like chronic on and off. And luckily, most of it is managed, but it could always be a little better. Any opportunity to get some relief from that pain. Are you a person who has some pain as well, some body pain, like on a regular basis?
Surprisingly, no.
Okay.
But I think just like anybody else, when I do get a massage, I'm like, oh my God, I did not know I was that sore there.
Okay.
So
You just hold
it's
it
not chronic.
and you don't realize.
I'm just like everyone else. I'm not some kind of superhuman. I just have a cowboy hat on. I'm just a human, just like you. Yeah, and I think you brought up a word. You said opportunity, and that is also where I want to excel in, where I meet people halfway. I'm just there as a spontaneous opportunity for you to get some body work done. And I feel like in our culture, we are hit with spontaneous opportunities all the time to kind of harm ourselves. I mean, we have those neon signs for the drive-through, or like the candy at a checkout aisle.
Yeah.
That's all there ready for you
Yeah.
to take on. And why not be, a warrior and be spontaneous for other people and taking care of themselves. That's kind of like what I'm trying to get at.
I love that. Yeah, and actually being in a bar too. I mean, that is another place where people indulge, and there's some mental relaxation that comes from being social and being in a, not that everybody's consuming alcohol, but to be there and to be able to lend that healthy habit that they can add to what they're already doing in their activities. And it is self-care. I mean, I think being social is self-care even, and it's not something that's talked about very often, but that combining with some massage therapy, I think it's a perfect fit.
So yeah, I want to just be there. I don't go up and like solicit to people. I would just want to be there as an option, and I'm part of the environment. You know, I'm just there for the vibes. There's a cowboy standing there. Sure. While I drink my beer and hang out with my buddies. Yeah, there's a cowboy there. Whatever.
and you can't miss you is the thing, and that's what I love about it. It's such a bold like visual statement, and I mean that people just don't really dress like cowboys. So, and it has just a very theatrical thing too, which I think being in Orlando we understand. This is the Disney city, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, there's a lot of performers here. It's a very service oriented city. So those things just go hand in hand. So people see that and they're also like, oh, this makes total sense.
Yeah. When I was creating the whole look, I'm like, all right, worst case scenario, people ignore you or they'll like give you weird looks. But yeah, just the feedback I've gotten, I think Orlando is, like you said, they get it. And I just feel like a lot of people have been waiting. I know I've been waiting, have like the hero appear. So like I wanted to be that champion and go out and be that silliness and that you see when you go out for a drink or go out for a social setting.
Yeah.
Like it's just something different. And yeah, I've been received very well, and it's given me like the feel to just keep going.
Awesome. I love that. It definitely elevates the atmosphere too. Just seeing you there, it's like, okay, cool. This already feels like something different, you know. It's a little bit more of a party. And
Yeah.
I've seen you also do karaoke, which was
Oh, no.
such a treat. That may or may not have happened.
Okay. Yeah, Wednesdays karaoke nights.
Yeah. So you're doing massages at Kaya on Wednesday nights.
Karaoke, massages, and spaghetti.
Yeah, I almost wanted to see if I could do karaoke from the chair, but I didn't want to take away from the service you were providing and combine those two things. But
Oh, we can do it.
okay, cool.
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right.
I'm up for anything.
Okay, good deal. Yeah,
You never know until you try.
That's true. That's true. I love that you're willing to try and that it is about fun as well as about the
That's
service.
the whole cowboy spirit.
Uh-huh.
You just got to do it. And worst case scenario, you fail. So what? Okay, you learned something.
That's right. That is the cowboy way, isn't
Yeah.
it? Cowboys aren't afraid. They just go for it. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This is making a lot of sense.
The cowboy avatar means a lot on several levels.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, like, who are your main cowboy influences? Who are some cowboy heroes that you have? Or what does your cowboy vision board look like? Or is it just a picture? Is it a picture of you? And then it's and that's it.
I feel like it's just been part of me the whole time.
Okay.
And I don't know if the past me when I was working 2 jobs was the real me. I feel like this is a return to form to me in my high school days. I was always doing antics and like, all right, at one time like brought a box of Krispy Kreme donuts to class, and everyone wanted one, and I was like, no, I would like defend it with my life. I would like slap people's hands really hard, like, no, you don't, cowboy. And by lunch, people were so hungry and they like ganged up on me to get this box of Krispy Kreme.
Wow.
Finally, someone wrestled it away from me, and it was just an empty box the entire time.
Was that? Oh
I was
my
like,
god!
yeah, there were no donuts to begin with.
Wow.
So I don't know. I've just grown up as like a practical joker, and I felt like working for so long, I've kind of lost that edge, and I just wanted to stir the pot. I think especially during COVID, I felt that was probably my lowest low. I didn't have any of that social energy, you know, working in kitchens or even just the massage job. I really got to thinking and like, dang, it really sucks to not have any human connection for that long. And I think Orlando has just been ready to, you know, get back into the swing of things. And I was ready to become a different person. Like I couldn't just work forever. I was just ready for a change. So I needed to change myself.
Yeah.
And I was never like an entrepreneurial kind of person. I I thought entrepreneurs were all just like money hungry people who had no taste and were just like boring. But now, like, as I age, I'm like, wait, if you want to have a say in things, you have to bet on yourself eventually. And
Yeah.
that was kind of like the cowboy entrepreneurial spirit, like they kind of hand in hand.
It sounds like you had a real, I mean, the pandemic shut down everything that we went through. We were all very kind of inward facing, right? Because we
Right.
weren't connecting with other people in the same ways. So we kind of looked at our lives and what we wanted maybe to do differently, or what opportunities we would take if given them.
Yeah, it's a huge cortisol cleanse. I feel like,
Yeah.
you're taking a break from that grind, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, okay, so and it made you think about money. Like, okay, I'm not working and I'm not making money. Like, what is money? Like, why do I need money? What am
Sure.
I gonna do with it? What ruckus
Aside
do I need to
aside
stir
from
up?
paying the overhead, the bills, the input costs that you need to just survive, if you're not putting your happiness at the forefront, I think that you can miss out on a lot of good living, right?
Yeah. So, no, I felt like, you know what, maybe I have more control of my life than I thought. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this cowboy thing a shot. And the best part is I'm being myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I can have fun even if I don't have, clients or anything. Like, I'm having fun while I'm doing this, just dressing up and being a character,
Yeah.
being part of the environment. It's kind of like being an active introvert, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I am pretty introverted, despite the cowboy costume. Like, you might think, super aggressive or something, but no, I'm a very soft person, and if you talk to me, you'll know. as
Yeah.
as the sheriff, it's just a persona and image.
Yeah.
But I really, my massage is very, very slow, and it is very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I let my hands rest on a point and I apply pressure, I think about chocolate melting in the sun.
Hmm.
And that is the pace I want to take it at. I want
Okay.
you to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you're not who's boss. I'm going to work with your body and see what it needs. And every massage is a little bit different. I go through the routine, but I'll feel what's different for you and work on that.
Yeah, makes sense. I definitely get that sense, because there is, as you said, the pace of it, you definitely get the full money's worth. I mean, it's such a deal, because a massage can be an expensive thing, and I think that's why some people shy away from it too, because it's, it's it seems extravagant or something like that when you break it down, if you're getting like a full hour or something like that. But when you're just getting that focus on those things, and then you realize like, oh, this is something that maybe I need more of, more often, or whatever it is, it's like once it's in your life, you kind of realize its place in your life, right? So I think that that's a really important factor of it, of just seeing this is something that's worth pursuing, and you're right here in the neighborhood, which is perfect.
Yeah, you're so right about that. Like, massage is seen as either on one end of the spectrum, like, oh, you get it once a year, like when you go to Hawaii or Bali or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Or somebody buys you a
very
gift
nice
certificate.
gift.
Yeah, sure.
Or it's seen as like, I know a lot of my clients at work, they see it as like a chore, like an errand. They're like, oh, I have to get a massage. And they come in stressed because they are getting a massage. They are stressed. Like, they had to drive here, make the appointment, talk on the phone, go to the front desk, sit in the waiting room. Like, it's so many steps. And then after your massage, you don't even get to like relax with your friends. You have to, check out, pay for it, and like drive home, like through the traffic again. And, for Hokkaido Hank, I cut out all that overhead, all that traffic. I'm where you already want to be, with your friends at Redlight.
Yeah.
And I just get straight to what needs to be done, no fluff.
Yeah. I am so appreciative of that vision and that that drive to do something and make a difference and make it unique and make it your own. And I think that finding that thing that gets you out there too. I think that if it's just ourselves and like I am an introvert, I maybe just want to kind of stay at home tonight. But once you put that outfit on, you're probably totally ready to go because you're like, it's not me that's going, it's Hank that's going. Mm-hmm. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's just the ideas and the goals are what drive me. I want to use my time to help the community. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to get paid, then I want to be paid doing that.
Yeah.
And I want to do it in my way. So that's like the entrepreneurial spin.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put on that costume, I'm like, I think today I can really make somebody's day. I think today I can create a very unique, interactive, strange moment for somebody.
Yeah.
And massage in itself is like you're letting someone put their hands on you.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's like now you're letting this wellness sheriff put their hands on you. Like that's a very unique experience.
Yeah.
And especially when you're out with your friends, it almost becomes like peer pressure. Like, oh, I got one and it was actually really good. Like, does anyone else like want to get one? Like, I've seen that dynamic a lot for groups.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a dare. Like, I dare you to get massaged by a cowboy.
I love that. I mean, how fun is that? That's amazing. So going back to kind of your career before you found this path, you said you'd worked in kitchens kind of around town. Do you miss that kind of work? What kind of work in kitchens were you doing?
A lot of prep. So I feel like it's always been the same for me where I like to take care of people, even if I'm taking care of people who are taking care of people. Like, so in the hospitality industry, I enjoy prep because I'm able to take care of the chefs for the night. Mm-hmm. They can walk in and everything is grab and go, ready to go. They don't have to think about it. And I myself am a very meticulous worker. I'm very laid back, but I'm also meticulous about my knife cuts and organization because I'm thinking about what it would be like to be a chef on the line and it's 7:30 p.m. You don't have time to look for things. So I like to have it all spaced out and perfect for other people. And knowing that I'm serving someone who's about to work so hard that night, really motivated me. Yeah. So I love being there and being that support for someone who works so hard.
That's so
and
nice.
It's kind of like a parallel to how I was able to jump into massage therapy so easily. It's like, oh, I get to be that person to take care of you. Inside of like an enclosed space, very safe, getaway. Just for an hour, we can just take it all away. You don't have to think about it.
And it's very one-on-one, direct, that outcome. Like you're able to see that and get that feedback just directly from the person too, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be so rewarding.
Yes, it's definitely the guiding light to where I want to keep going and what I want to do. And thinking back, when I was looking at this as like a business model, I'm like, there's no way I can scale this. Like, it's not like I'm slinging like 50, 100 pizzas a night. Like, I can work on one person at a time. I have to. And they take up that chunk. Like, at the most, I can maybe interact with 5 to 7 people an hour. But yeah, the reward is I get to work with 5 to 7 people per hour only. Yeah. And I get to see you one-on-one. It's not like I'm throwing food at you. And
sure. It's a very well-defined, either you're actively busy, but you're not going to be ever like slammed. There's only so much you can fit in an hour, right? That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's a nice way to look at it. That just like the stress level, it's like, exactly what you're getting into, right? Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. I think it's a very unique aspect of the job. And I think that, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of massage therapists out there, but to really know what people need and to be able to sense that out and not go too heavy with it. Cause I've had those massages too, where people are just, they just want to like kill your muscles.
No.
And that can do more harm than good. Like I've definitely been in that situation where I was like, I really should have not even done that.
Right.
And just to know that you're not ever going to have that with Hank, that's exceptional, I think.
Yeah, there's that visual paradox of like, oh, this is a cowboy. He's going to be really rough, really gruff. But that's
You're a
kind
gentle
of
cowboy, though.
that's the kind of message I'm trying to get at the end of the day. It's like these social like presumptuous assumptions, like these paradoxes shouldn't exist. You can be like a very masculine figure and still be vulnerable and very gentle. You can be a very stoic cowboy and still be very kind-hearted and giving. Just because, you know, you're expressionless does not mean your heart is not full.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to break those walls down, you know, kind of nibble at it. And there's plenty of heroes out there who are doing it in their field. And I want to be the leader in my field in Orlando and just join that bigger fight.
Yeah. So when you say heroes, who comes to mind?
I like seeing the story of Marco Pierre White. Do you know the chef?
I don't.
So he was Gordon Ramsay's mentor.
Okay.
And when he was young, he was, I think in his 20s, he was going for 3 Michelin stars. And he was able to achieve it at 27. And I think at that time, he was like the youngest person to ever get it. And he was so like rough in the kitchen. He was a demon. And throughout the years, like I've watched his career like on YouTube. It's funny, you can just watch a video of him when he was in his 20s. You watch a video of him now. You see like how much more gentle he's become. And his words are like way more intentional, and he talks at a much slower pace. And you know, that was an inspiration to me because I think one of his most powerful quotes was that kind of made me want to bet on myself. It was, he got tired of working for the 3 stars, I think in his 30s or 40s. And he was like, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And eventually you're being judged by people who have less knowledge than you, these Michelin judges. So what is it worth?
Yeah.
And he actually gave up his 3 stars to do his own thing. And I thought that was really baller.
Yeah.
And he's just been like a way more softer mentor. And he's been guest starred on like the Master Chef series. And he's just very gentle. And he knows exactly when to turn it up really quick, but he knows how to dial it down. And that's the kind of control that I would like to, you know, pursue in my own life as a man. And I think just the way Hollywood was in like the 70s, 80s, like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, all that kind of masculinity is just like, oh, like you can be like super strong and super aggressive. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You can have both, you know, yin and yang. Yeah. Iron and silk. Yeah. So that's kind of like the duality I've trying to build into this character.
That's so cool. Yeah, man, I love that. I'm so fascinated with this kind of revelation that people are having with identity right now. That, you know, whether it's around gender identity or even just that dynamic that we were kind of fed of what it looks like to be a man, like quote unquote, right? That which category you fit into, you have to be one of these things.
Alpha male is the best only, right?
Well, that's what gets the most attention. That's the most rewarding position, right? That sort of like that sports competitive thing and how that can translate into the business world or whatever. It's like what we grew up seeing our heroes kind of looked a certain way, right? And we're realizing now that that's not it. Those can be very empty and it's not the full picture. And being good to other people should be at the core of who every human is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a sign of weakness, and it doesn't take away from your other values, but it should be kind of at the core of where you start, like everything should start with kindness and just being good to other people rather than trying to, dominate or whatever. It's like those traits that we associate with these alpha males and that sort of thing. Like, I just think that's being called out in a way that it should be called out, because it's not great and it's not helpful, and that's not what we want. That's not what people want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to be bold in who you are and not be afraid to have that voice in, what is right for you and for the people around you, and just being attuned to what that means too,
Yeah. By no means am I like introducing a new color to like this bigger picture. I've just think like in this day and age, like anyone can start a business now. So I'm just fighting for, the fight that's already been going on for like a wider spectrum of, what it means to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're embracing that, you're owning that thing that you kind of felt was maybe a certain way. Like being an entrepreneur was about money and about competition or dominating, right? And then you realize like, oh no, it's really not. It's about creative control and individuality, and actually making a product or service and bringing it to people that actually want it in a way that they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a cool story.
Don't let your memes be dreams. This all started as like a little joke, and I'm like, I think there's something there. I felt like there was something there, and I just kept the ball rolling and kept going and going. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Well, congratulations. I'm
much.
so stoked about where you are and where it's going. I see it only growing from here, and just to get to know you and know the person that you are. This has been such a lovely experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I was super flattered when you approached me with this opportunity.
Of course. I mean, you are a part of the Audubon Park story now, right? You're here so often. What are some Audubon Park things that you love aside from Redlight?
I love Domu, and I love the the people at Domu.
Yeah. Domo is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Sunny, everything he's created is just like, he has like the coolest people working for him, and just Edo Boy, Tori is just like all super cool. And I can say that he's very inspiring as an entrepreneur. He's able to step in, but he won't micromanage, and he really gives a lot of creative freedom to the chefs and people that work for him. And he gives a lot of room to wiggle. So
that's awesome.
I think that's a really cool part of Audubon Park. Gideon's obviously, and Redlight. Yeah, I feel like I work there now, right? So
you basically are
one of your employees.
Yeah.
It's just so nice in there. That high ceiling, the spaciousness.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a first venue to land,
Totally. Yeah. And what a family. I mean, the staff there, and the fact that it is family owned, Brent and Erica, husband and wife owners, like it has that family atmosphere through and through, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I walk in, like Ash and Marco, Kelsey, they just shout out, "Hey, cowboy!" I'm like, they'll be in the middle of serving someone and they'll just call me out, "Hey there, cowboy!" I'm like, "Hey, cowboy!" And to me, everyone's a cowboy. Man, woman, cat, dog. I'm like, "Hey, cowboy." "Oh, cowboy, what's your name?" "Yeah, you're cowboy."
I love that.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a cowboy inside them, I feel like. It just needs to come out.
Man, that's so true. Yeah, that's so true. I was just rewatching Big Lebowski because that's a cowboy that I think of, just that narrator and this person who's looking upon this story and appreciating it, and such a stoic cowboy character in that. So that's one of the things that I kind of think of.
Classic movie.
Yeah, right?
Mm. Oh, speaking of, I think it crossed my mind earlier. You were like, who are your biggest influences? I'm like, I guess like things like Cowboy Bebop, that's like an anime. It's like an East-West kind of thing. And then you think of Kill Bill, like Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
He loves like doing the East-West kind of deal where he'll put
Yeah.
like Western music in a samurai fight, right?
Yeah.
And then Hokkaido Hank. You got the Hank is the cowboy, and Hokkaido is, a city in Japan famous for its scallops and uni sea urchin.
Yeah. So East meets West.
East
yeah.
meets West. Another duality.
Right.
There's just a bunch of pairs in it.
This is all making even more sense now, too. Well, Hank, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. What are the websites and socials that people go to find you?
So on Instagram, it's at Hokkaido Hank, and it's spelled HOKKAIDOHANK, and it's the same for Gmail, just Hokkaido Hank at Gmail.
Cool.
And you can find me at Redlight, currently Mondays and Fridays, and definitely karaoke Wednesdays at Kaya.
Yes.
Lo and Jamie, I love you guys.
Kaya has some of the best food I think I've ever had too. We got to eat there the other week, and
Yes.
yeah, just mind blowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
It's so cool with what they've done with that outdoor space. Just
Yeah.
they're giving the community an opportunity to interact.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you all the tools, the time, the space, and then we'll see what happens, Orlando.
I know. Yeah. It's a big next step, isn't it? This is an exciting time to be here for sure. Well, Hank, thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you. See you guys around. Saddle up.
This episode is brought to you in part by the Audubon Park Community Market. Join us every Monday from 5 to 8 p.m., rain or shine, in the parking lot of Stardust Video and Coffee. Located at 1842 East Winter Park Road, this weekly gathering of makers, farmers, gardeners, fishmongers, ranchers, craftsmen, artisans, entrepreneurs, neighbors, and friends brings the very best of Central Florida to you every week. We do hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, please click subscribe and leave a review if you'd like. We'll see you next time.